Hey, hello everyone. Professor Barry here. This is the last installment, week 10, as we head into the final part of the term. I want to say a heartfelt thank you to you for all of your dedication to the class. It requires a lot. Online class is more independent learning, and so spending the time with resources, doing write-ups, the field of sociology and probably social sciences and humanities in general require more written work to demonstrate understanding and to facilitate learning and acquiring the information that you need. Yeah, I hope the class was really beneficial to you, that you enjoyed the class, and look forward to to more sociology classes in the future. I plan on teaching a few more classes online the upcoming year and years ahead, so maybe I'll see you in a class somewhere down the road. For this week, two different things. One, the you have a choice in what to review for this week. The sources are Paradise. What it's subtitled something about Built in Hell, Communities Built in Hell by Rebecca Skolnick. It's a fabulous book. I encourage you to read the book. But I think that the podcast will give you a really good flavor. But I really encourage you to read the book. It's really engaging, easy to work through, and it's just a really compelling perspective about the ability of humans to come together in times of need and collaborate. And if I recall back or think back to the Commons, the idea of Garrett Hardin had this sort of idea that, if the Commons left to their own, it's going to end up in destruction. And he had this very brutish view of human behavior. This goes back to philosophies of philosopher Thomas Hobbes and the Leviathan, and he provided one viewpoint, and Jacques Rousseau provided a viewpoint that's much more of a viewpoint of cooperative human. So these different ideas that get grounded in our culture. And there's a subdiscipline in sociology called sociology of disaster. It's a really fascinating area of study. It's like a lab experiment, like what happens when institutions and structures in society are challenged, threatened, destroyed, that they're impacted in critical ways. And what happens is that communities oftentimes they come together, members come together, and oftentimes look back, years down the road, look back to that time of that disaster with a sense of, I don't know if the right word is fondness, but a sense of remembering that a time period when it mattered less what your race, class, background was. We were all working together to rebuild this community. And it's a really powerful kind of a example. So anyway, that's one. And the other one's called Billionaire Wilderness by Justin Farrell. It's another great read. It's a little bit more sociological and both of them are sociological, but I guess what I mean by that, he is writing such a little bit more academic in terms of discourse and writing. But it's the focus is on understanding the richest county in the United States is in per capita is in Jackson, Wyoming. He calls it billionaire wilderness, where some people have helicopter pads in their backyard. And individuals who made a lot of money on fossil fuel industry, and they go to Jackson, Wyoming, the Teton Mountains, and then they engage in trying to protect or procure and curate the landscape in ways that benefit, in ways that they want to, like they have the power and the resources to do that, and they go there to try to forget about class consciousness or about not class consciousness, forget about their class position. And they want to be, a lot of the individuals he interviews want to be kind of regular people. They see that this is a community, it's a small community, we're all the same. He calls it kind of class amnesia. And it's just really fascinating how this one particular area in Jackson, Wyoming, and the way in which social class operates and the power and influence that people with money and resources and wealth, what they're trying to do with the landscape, their desire to curate the landscape, protect the landscape, and it's raises the question: do they really care about the landscape? They just want someplace to go that is kind of I don't know, someplace to go where they can see a bison roam across their backyard and they're like super cool, right? But they're not thinking necessarily, I don't mean to minimize the individuals in that context, but they have very specific interests, is what I guess I'm getting at. And they're put things in land trust, for example, and they're doing that not for necessarily for the greater good of the community, but because of their own interest. Anyway, it's a fabulous write up or a fabulous book as well. So you have that choice. So those are the two resources. Review one of them, and then part of the final is to include it when you do for the final exam. When you get there, three parts. First part is to complete the survey, and it's an assessment survey, so it's not student evaluations. So you have to click on this Qualtrics survey. It takes a few minutes, and it's for our assessment office, and we're just gathering information about students' accomplishment of course objectives and how they kind of like worked with course objectives in the course, getting feedback to the institution. So I won't even see this feedback. It's more of an institutional wide feedback, but it's required to do that for any class that's on the discipline studies list. You'll be asked to use the CRN for the class, and there's the CRN, the course number for the class. So copy and paste, use a snipping tool or screenshot and put that confirmation after the survey is completed. You get a screen like, thank you for completing the survey, and put that in the document. Part two, identify just a couple, big takeaways, four things that you thought were really interesting. And then just talk about that. Just step back for a moment, just ponder the class. I mean, I just encourage you without any notes, maybe look at the syllabus to remember back where we covered, or maybe not. But to be able to just identify four things. And this is really your space to just kind of reflect on that. And then the part three, identify some topics that you appreciated most, you thought that were really valuable. I spent a lot of time putting things together that I thought students would find interesting and valuable. But also, I'm limited in terms of my own views and perspectives, and there may be things you're interested in that I didn't capture. So I wanted to get into topics okay, look over the syllabus, the course modules. Can you think of topics that you thought would be beneficial to cover? And also maybe topics you thought, well, we covered that, but I really didn't think we needed to do that. Any feedback about topic related stuff would be super great. And I forgot to put the survey together to get your feedback on the weekly video comments. I'm kind of curious, did you listen to most of them, all of them? Did you find them beneficial? And can you think of if you were to change them in any sort of way, what would you change? And not that they need any changing, but if you thought, oh, that'd have been super cool if you would have done, if I would have added this in there, that'd been great. But if you're like super happy with the video feedback, no reason to say, make some changes. But anyway, just some curious about some feedback on that. All right. Once again, thanks for all of your amazing work. I'm around, down the road. So if you run into questions, you want some feedback on something, you're thinking about sociology, public policy, you have questions about educational pathways, you just want to stop by sometime and talk about sociology, or you want to send an email, feel free to do that anytime down the road. Best wishes to you, and have a great finals week.